The Dracula Particle is presented by Bobby Hemmitt, who reveals how easily individuals are conditioned to believe everything they're taught by design. It may be unclear at first where he is going, but that changes the moment he drops those razor-sharp examples: parental advice, social norms, and iconic figureheads. That's when it hits you. Our minds, in terms of having the freedom to actually choose, are brutally limited. According to Hemmitt, we're under an invisible form of mind control, a vicious loop where there is no real freedom. You're left to abide by enforced rules. You are to conform. Bow down to the rules, fall in line and silence your thoughts. Wow, one can only sit back for so long before something inside just clicks. That click? Well, it's your subconscious screaming at you to stand at attention. And you should, because the information you're about to absorb is nothing short of mind-blowing. In session 28, we're diving all the way into understand how we're limited by the powers that be. We're breaking down exactly how we're taught by those around us, and why the authority we've been conditioned to worship exists only to maintain their order. That's not to mention pointing out the false illusion so many still cling to, the belief they're truly free. Yeah, this is gonna get very interesting, no doubt, folks. So let's waste no time diving deep into this. Alright, let's start things off with the core explanation by leaning heavily into the insights of the author himself. Bobby Hemmitt doesn't just rant, he hands you the blueprint of the trap. The Dracula Particle isn't some spooky metaphor pulled out of thin air. In his Chaos Code lectures, he ties it directly to the very essence that makes us alive and aware: melanin, the dark, chaotic, regenerative force flowing through our blood and nervous system. He calls this the Dracula Particle because, like the vampire legend, society has learned to fear the night, fear the unknown, fear the power that only awakens when the lights go out and the programming stops. Here's the genius of it. The particle itself isn't evil. Oh no, see, it's deemed as the ultimate creative chaos. It's the thing that lights your pineal gland on fire, your intuition internal spike, your individuality raw. But, as for the system itself, well, this system was put in place to keep you drained, suppressed, and kept dormant. No, for those who more likely didn't see session 3. I introduced this similar topic under maritime admiralty law, and within it are what's known as maritime concepts. So think about it in this basic aspect. From the second you're born, the programming starts. And then comes the rundown list or routine and blandness. Various governments approved of mental conditioning concepts that were not only used on dogs, but more so on humans to control them using a sense of urgency. They hear loud ringing from that annoying bell, and they scatter like cockroaches to their next destination. Understand that loud ringing can also become a commanding voice, where parents repeat what their parents told them to you. Get good grades, get a good job, and don't rock the boat. Yea, all of that is used indirectly for telling people to sit down, shut up, raise your hand to speak, memorize the approved history. Indoctrination 101. Not super different from today's societal norms. And in this I'm referring to the 1980s, where mental experimentation was always being tested out on the youth relentlessly. Yeah, that one show I used to watch called The Third Eye definitely pushed some serious mind conditioning vibes. The media and culture fed us only need to know information 24/7. So basically, you're left to consume, obey, fear the outsider, and chase that dopamine hit. Hemmitt calls this the invisible mind control loop, or IMCL, meaning that you don't need chains when the prison is already built inside your own head. And as a result, you'll happily police yourself due to this hardening fact. This is all due to the mental conditioning you have received as a kid. You silence your own thoughts before they even get dangerous. You bow down to the rules because questioning them feels like treason against the very society that raised you. And here's where daunting facts come in. This isn't ancient occult theory anymore. It's playing out in real time in 2026 America. Social media algorithms reward conformity and punish the like button. Corporate jobs only reward the yes men and women, and quietly sidelined scared thinkers. Political tribes on both sides demand you fall in line, or get cancelled. Even rebellion is sold back to you as merchandise. The Dracula Particle, well, that serves as your inner chaos, your melanin-fueled creative fire that gets siphoned off every single day. That's why so many people feel exhausted for no reason, depressed in a land of plenty, and trapped even when the doors are wide open in front of their faces silently telling them to escape. And yet, they stay stuck like a duck. Let me make this crystal clear with Hemmitt's own lens applied to today's bullshit parental advice. Don't rock the boat, Jack or Jill. Just fit in and shut up. That's not love, that's transmission of the virus. Social norms? Act normal. Translation: that means suppress anything that doesn't match the approved frequency or message. Iconic figureheads, politicians, celebrities, billionaires, become the new high priests. You're taught to worship their success while they quietly rewrite the rules that keep you small. Hemmitt says the result is a nation of sleepwalkers who think they're free because they can choose between Coke and Pepsi, red team or blue team, Netflix or Hulu. That's not freedom, that's a choice between two different flavors of the same cage. The anxiety you feel when you even think about stepping outside the script? That's the system's alarm going off inside your own nervous system. The depression that hits when you realize your life is on autopilot? That's the Dracula particle starving for oxygen. And the worst part? The very people enforcing the rules. These are your teachers, your boss at a job, even so-called trustworthy pastors. This even goes all the way down to family members, for Pete's sake. All of them were brainwashed systematically just like you are. Understand, they aren't villains. No, the victims who became the vectors, or individuals who spread that brainwashing message from one generation to the next. That's the Dracula twist Hemmitt nails. The trusted faces are the ones quietly feeding on your life force. It's funny how that word phrase is mentioned. Because I used to play the game Life Force that was on the Nintendo Entertainment System in the 80s. You know, this is the type of information that needs to get brought out into the spotlight. The details Bobby Hemmitt combs through is what I often think about starting in 2016, when I dove into the esoteric understandings tied to religious doctrines of law, which is linked to the white and black popes in the Vatican overlooking the seat of power. The white pope and black pope are the dual administrative heads, defined by the occult significance of their attire. As for the grey pope, if you deep dive within certain corners of the web, his common name is attached to the individual named Pepe Orsini. You'll hear that he's the supreme puppet master of the entire world. And he's also the one that is above his white and black pope counterparts. It's also said that he's controlling 13 bloodlines, the mega-rich families, tied to the New World Order agenda. And lastly, he also makes decisions of what goes and what stays in accordance with the global banking systems, all done from within the shadows. This, of course, refers to the Holy See, where the Pope, and this is controversial, not gonna lie, claims to be the ruler over all. To sum it up in a nutshell, these three religious leaders govern over the lesser congregations and churches around the world, which gets narrowed down to this. Deacons, pastors, priests abide by the wishes of the men who claim ownership of all souls on earth. This is why the term Catholicism is understood to mean universal, as in domain over all. The rich elites, or oligarchs, are aligned with the Vatican religious congregation they can use to help stay in power. It's why they control how countries, cities, or communities educate their youth to respect authority figures of any kind. That means training them to stick to the basics. These are figures Bobby Hemmitt knows who wield true authoritarian power, which can be either a form of government or leadership demanding strict obedience, and concentrates power within a leader, typically tied to an elite faction, and can suppress both individual freedom and democratic processes. Organizations such as the Society of Jesus, aka the Jesuits, are linked to a vast number of organizations, occults, cults, not to mention lesser sects, who will control over political events. They run the movie industry of Hollywood, which is also referred to as Holy Tree, a very strong wood. The industry is in relation to religious ideology, the Illuminati or the CFR, contract signing, which is a key aspect tying into maritime admiralty, play on words. All of the factions mentioned mold society. Primarily through education, diplomas are used by them through the collegia that grants the holder permission to work in a field or industry, and they are to conform to the rules passed on to them by their overseers within that field. Most elite family members have attended top-notch learning institutions such as Yale, Princeton, Stanford or Oxford, and the fraternities and sororities brandish Roman symbols which are tied to secret societies. If you're looking to discover more about this intriguing topic matter, then make sure to click the very top link within the description that will take you to Bobby Hemmitt's video. There will be more details about the Dracula particle in the future. So if you liked what you saw and heard today about this informative topic matter, then smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe to Mind Blast Mechanics, where we dive deep into the observations that matter. Also, throw out a comment if you have a question that needs to get answered. Don't miss our next video, so make sure to tap that bell. Thanks for watching.